only 52 laps. Don't give a shit about Dominator points.
Nope.
All right, I think that's a good intro. All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Fast Cars, Fast Money. We're back with the Xfinity series. This week, we're looking at the Daytona road course. And as always, I'm here with Rich and Coop. Say what's up, guys.
What's up, guys?
Hey, everyone.
Good listener, Rich. All right, so with this slate, I think it's pretty interesting. You got a lot of unique plays on here, but these are kind of our initial thoughts in kind of our race preview. So I think this race really just comes down to Austin Cindric versus AJ Allmendinger. I think they're the two heavy favorites to win. I think it's probably their race to lose. I'd be shocked if someone else, wins the race. That doesn't mean that I'm not playing other people, and I think other people might even potentially be better plays than Cindric and than AJ Allmendinger. But I think as far as the race winner, I think it's going to come down to one of those two guys. Because of the Daytona Wreckfest, you have a lot of these good guys starting further back with good equipment that should easily pass a lot of cars, giving you basically free points in place differential. So that's where a lot of my focus is going to be, just like we talked about in the Truck Series video. And if you guys haven't watched that, feel free to click on our YouTube channel. You should be able to find it pretty quickly. Or you can hop over at our Twitter at FastCarsFM, get access to the spreadsheet, the truck spreadsheet, and then also the Cup spreadsheet that we have as well. The other thing I'm focusing on is there's a lot of road course ringers in this race, and they're in this race for a reason. So I'm going to have a lot of interest in those guys. But do you guys have any other initial thoughts or kind of where your head's at looking at this slate?
Place differential. A lot of guys that are going to offer a ton of place differential, and there's not a lot of great value other than super cheap punk guys.
Yeah. Coop?
Yeah, same thoughts. That covers it.
All right. Well, then, Coop, I'll let you lead us off with the 10K range. Oh, looks like I got Justin Haley in the wrong spot there, so you can include Justin Haley in that 10K range as well. But if you had to kind of rank these guys, Coop, who do you like?
AJ Allmendinger and Austin Cindric, like you said, might be racing for the win. Personally, I think Allgaier and Gragson could easily get up to the top 5, and I care a lot more about the place differential than I do the lap sled, that could be split between the other two and split between somebody else after after they go into pit and after the stages end and whatnot. So for me, I actually like the Allgaier and the Gragson plays. They offer a lot of PD upside. They should finish high. And for me, that's probably the direction I would prefer to go, even though that might not be the chalkiest or the most popular route to take.
Yeah, I think for these plays, if Austin Cindric or Allmendinger dominates the race and leads more than 75% of the laps, that's likely the only way they're going to match the same amount of points Allgaier and Gragson can get if both of those drivers finish in the top 5.
Which is quite possible.
That's generally how the points work out. So I would probably play one of both of those two groups of either one of Allmendinger or Cindric and one of Allgaier Gragson if you're going to play somebody from the 10K range. Now, I'm kind of staying away from Justin Haley. He does offer PD upside, but he's not great at road courses. So take that with what you want.
Yeah, I like that strategy a lot. I think if you're playing both AJ Allmendinger and Austin Cindric, you're kind of, crossing your fingers that neither of them have an issue, because if one of them has an issue or gets a penalty late in the race or cuts down a tire and has to pit and they end up finishing 14th or something, it's really going to hurt your line because there's really not that many dominator points to be had. So I'm kind of in the same boat, I think, as Coop almost, where I think my priorities are going to lay with the Allgaiers, the Gregsons, and even the Haleys of the 10K range. So I might even see myself not playing either of Cindric or Allmendinger. That might be dumb, but
I think that would be GPP.
It feels dumb, but it feels like.
But when I'm looking at the slate, I just see so many easy points up for grabs with Allgaier, Gragson, and Haley that it's hard not to play those guys. But all right, so if you're paying up for those guys, maybe some of these guys in the 9K range might be a little bit overlooked. Maybe you're only playing one of them. I'll start with you, Rich. What do you think about these guys in the 9K range?
Well, my favorite play is Brandon Jones at 9K, just because he's starting at the back in a Joe Gibbs car. He's going to move up, offers all the PD upside, and he'll probably be fighting for a top 10. Probably be there before the end of the first stage. The other guys, I would say, are more GPP. They're probably all going to come in lower owned, just because of the other guys around them in the salary range. And yeah, go to Coop.
Yeah, give me Jones, give me LeBay, give me Annette. Those three, I think there's just no downside to them. And like you said, it's almost like free points just dangling right in front of you, and it's hard not to take them. I think those three are awesome plays, and I'm highly interested in all three of those guys.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, coming from me that usually only plays one line, I'm struggling to figure out which place differential guys I want to put in my lineup because there are so many of them. And for me, it's like, okay, maybe I'll try to grab one of these place differential guys that might be a little bit lower owned. And I think Brandon Jones is a lock. He's easily in the best equipment of the guys starting, 30th on back, and should easily be able to move up quickly. And he probably will be the highest owned driver on the slate, and he should be. I like Alex LeBay a lot. Mike Lynette, I like him, but I think I like some of the other guys around him more. Jade Buford, I think he's good, but he starts a little bit higher up than, LeBay and Annette. So they give you more place differential. And I think they have the ability to finish up a little bit higher than he does too. Not super interested in Jeremy Clements just because I'd rather pay for the guys around him. And then Miguel there filling in for the 8 car. He's a road course guy, and I have a lot of interest in him. I see him as basically the same play as Michael Annette. He's just, $500 cheaper.
Yeah, I really like Paluto as well. I think he'll probably be under owned just for the sheer fact that people don't know who he is, and he's a road course guy. So I probably would play him over Annette just because he's cheaper, like you said. And then going down to Riley Hurst here, he's in the 98. This was Briscoe's car last year. Should be pretty fast. I don't see any reason he shouldn't finish in the top 10, top 5 with this car. May at top 7. Ryan Sieg offers PD upside at 27, but I like other guys that start around that area. He's like mid-range value. He's all right. And then Snyder, he starts way too high for me to play personally. Partis is a good road course racer, but I'll pass it on to Coop.
Yeah, it's same thoughts. I'm a lot more interested in the guys in the 8K range than I am in the 7K range. It drops off a decent amount. So for me, if I had to play anybody, it would probably be the Hurst and Sieg, but they are on the upper end of that tier too. And it really, like Rich mentioned at the very beginning of the video, the value is a little tough to come by here once we get out of that, 8, 9, 10K range.
Yeah, I think a lot of those guys in the 8K range, I think that is where you're going to see a bulk of lineups kind of built around. I mean, there's so much PD
Absolutely.
Points right there. And it makes sense to pay up for that instead of paying for some of these guys in the 7K range that, they don't offer as much PD. They might be able to finish relatively in the same spot, but I even think the guys in the 8K range have a higher finishing potential. Once you get down to this kind of 6K range here, there's not too many guys I'm getting super excited about. I think Brett Moffitt is good, but unfortunately he starts on the pole and there's really not that many place differential points, and he'll probably get passed by Austin Cindric, who starts second, probably in the first couple turns. So even though I think Brett Moffitt's a good driver and a good road course guy, I don't think he's a good DFS play. But I do think Cody Ware is interesting. His equipment's okay, and he starts pretty much last on the field, so he can really only move up. So there's a lot of my guys in my line who I think are probably going to be starting, 28th on back. So I'm almost treating it like a super speedway race.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the same way. And once I get down to this range, when you're not a fan of any driver in particular, and the value you get out of them, might as well go with the guys that are starting the furthest back and have the least downside and the most upside. So that would be your Earnhardt, your Ware. Those are the guys that I focus on in this range.
Yeah, and then when it comes to the super cheap guys, you have Ty Gibbs and the Joe Gibbs Racing 54. I really think he's going to show a lot, and he might end up higher end because people are going to be looking for value. And then same thing with Chris Wright. They both start inside the top 20, but they both have the cars to finish inside the top 20 as well. So they may not offer you as many place differential points as the guy starting in the 30s, but they offer you the finishing position upside of finishing inside the top 10 and running there all day.
Yeah, and one of those punts allows you to pay up for a lot of those high PD guys that are starting further back than they should. So I like the option of punting with one of these, taking a gamble on one of the drivers in the back and stacking the PD upside in the front. That way you can sort of skip over some of the other ranges where you feel a little less comfortable about what you're plugging in.
Yeah, and I think DraftKings, this is a big miss on their part. I was pretty surprised when pricing came out to see Ty Gibbs and Chris Wright, for that matter, priced as low as they are. I think Ty Gibbs will probably carry more ownership than Chris Wright does. So if you're looking for a little bit of a lower owned punt play, if that's even a thing, probably want to look at Chris Wright over Ty Gibbs. He also starts a little bit further back, so he's a little bit safer for your line. But like Coop said, if you can get one of these guys in your line, it allows you to really plug in those stars that are in that 10, 9K, and even the 8K range that have just so much more upside than a lot of these other guys if you're trying to build like more of a balanced lineup. So I think Ty Gibbs and Chris Wright are going to be very high owned on the slate.
I have a quick question for you guys.
All right.
We have them as high. We like either one of them as a punt play. What do you guys think about the double punt? Do you think it can be executed here?
The double punt.
See, maybe not here.
Yeah,
Just
you could, but it's super.
Points.
It's too risky. I think if we were at like a Martinsville or maybe a Bristol or something where you're just clocking off lap after lap and you need those dominators to have an optimal lineup, then it might make sense. But what'd you guys say? There's only like 50 something laps in this race, or however many it was.
Yeah.
And if either Ty Gibbs or Chris Wright busts and has a bad race and finishes in the 30s or something, that's negative points. And you'd really would have to have your other guys make up for it. So I would say you probably only need one of these guys, but I love the idea of the double punt there, Coop.
And I don't think we can have this podcast without talking about Wallace Allen. Starting dead last, offer some PD upside.
No laws, no downside.
Yeah, and
he's not going to kill your line. I mean, we really don't know what. Go ahead, Andrew.
I was going to say, DraftKings must think, relatively highly of him because they have him priced above, all the guys below him. DraftKings thinks that he's going to be a better play than Ty Gibbs and Chris Wright. So, if you want to trust DraftKings and their pricings, he might be a decent play, but he might be a good pivot off Ty Gibbs and Chris Wright. All right, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up for the Xfinity series. Like I said, if you guys want access to this, hop over on our Twitter at FastCarsFM. You guys can pull this spreadsheet up for yourselves. Look at it when you're making lineups, and best of luck to you guys. And if you guys are looking for some other content, we'll have our truck video out, and we'll also have our cup video out here to you guys shortly.